Hey guys, as you can see by the title and the thumbnail, it's time for another home studio tour. Let's go check it out.
What's up, Edward? How are you? Welcome to my home studio. Hi, my name is Klein, and this is my studio setup here in Canoga Park, California. So yeah, we moved into this spot, less than a year ago. And one of the things that I really wanted in a new spot was to have a bigger space for my studio. My last spot was in a bedroom, and as soon as I walked into this house, I saw this extra little area behind the living room. And since I have all of this gear, it obviously wouldn't fit in one small bedroom. So I got really lucky that there was this extra spot behind the living room for me to put my studio. So I wanted to start off by showing you guys a centerpiece of my home studio, and that is my desk setup. I recently just made a pretty big upgrade to my computer, going from an old iMac to the new Mac Studio. It has 64 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte hard drive, and also, I couldn't pass up, but also get the Apple Display. For music, for mixing, for production, this thing is an absolute beast. Moving on to my monitor setup, I have a pair of ATC SCM25As. The reason why I love my studio monitors so much, my ATCs, is they're flat, they're honest, they have a huge spectrum, and they just flat out sound amazing. They're sitting on a pair of Argosy stands, which also have these iso-acoustic pucks under them to keep it from moving and to keep the vibration down. So I also have a sub, it's the Focal Sub 6. The reason why I've incorporated a sub into my setup is because, one, I love the way that it sounds, it fills it out. I love the bass response of it, and also because anything that you listen to, like your headphones or your car, also has a sub. So I want to make sure that when I'm mixing and doing the mixing process that I'm able to really hear the low response. And I also have a System 1 Roland synthesizer that I use from my Midi controller. It has pretty green lights, it sounds pretty good. Doesn't have weighted keys, but it still works for me. So moving on, I want to talk about my desk. It is made by a company called Jam Racks. I got it because of all of the rack space that you can get. There's some on the top, some on the bottom. It's made out of pretty hard bamboo, and I just really love the style, and I love that it came in black. Speaking of rack gear, I have a power conditioner right here up the top, a warm Pultec, a warm LA2A, all modded by Revive. They make the circuitry and the tubes closest to the original as possible. I also have a 6176 and a 506 rack here that has my Neve 2264, my API 550A, and my Neve 1073 for my mic pre, and my XLA 500 Acme. And on the other side, I have my Kemper, just in case if any client that I have doesn't find the head that they want to use out of all those over there. I basically can get any guitar through the Kemper here, and my OG rack mount Mesa dual rectifier, which I think is pretty cool. And at the bottom here, I have an Apollo X6, which everything is running through. I also have a Neve 5057 Orbit, which is a mix summer. So if I'm recording a guitar, this is the last part that it goes through. The one that I have has a silk circuitry, so it runs through all the Neve circuits as it goes in and out through the Apollo. And moving on to the last part of my desk setup is my microphone. It's a Manley Ref C, which already sounds amazing out the box, but I decided to put in a new tube, an aftermarket tube, which made it sound darker and warmer. And now it just sounds absolutely amazing. For those who don't know, I also play guitar, and I also have a ton of guitars. The reason why I have such a plethora of guitars is for any client that comes in the door, I just want to make sure that I have the right guitar to create whatever sound that they want to make. I'll just start here. This is a Jazzmaster, has a bare knuckle mule pickup, just one volume knob, and a Spitfire Tour pickguard. It's all reliced out, all custom shop. I love it. It's my favorite guitar. This is my custom Strat. It has bare knuckle juggernauts in it. Also has star inlays. I was sponsored by Fender at some point, and I really wanted star inlays. And Richie Sambora from Bon Jovi left, and they said they had a bunch of these necks laying around. So check it out. It says Richie Sambora on the back of the neck. So obviously, if you can't tell by now, I love Jazzmasters. Another one is kind of my style. Just the one pickup, one volume knob. This one has a Fishman Fluence in it, active pickup, battery pack on the back. It has black sparkle and pink sparkle all together with the Relic Tobacco Sunburst under. And lastly, one of my prized possessions, a Les Paul Supreme Root Beer Gold hardware. This is probably my best sounding guitar. This is probably used on every one of my recordings for rhythm tracks and for leads, honestly. The neck feels amazing, it sounds amazing, and it looks really cool. So I just wanted to run you guys through my amp setup here. I have an orange 8030 and then an orange Tiny Teller Jim Root edition here. A Wonderland Overdrive by Amplified Nation. A Cruise modded dual rectifier. Friedman Dirty Shirley, divided by 13 FTR 37, Marshall JTM 2000, Bad Cat Lynx 50, and a modded Marshall JTM 45. And then over here I have a Black Cat 30 and a custom Bad Cat combo. So my favorites out of these right now are the Wonderland Overdrive. This is one of my newest amps and I love this company, and everything was kind of picked all different custom colors, and this amp sounds insane. Another amp that I use quite often is this Marshall JTM 45 that's modded to sound exactly like an old Plexi. Going from clean to dirty tones, it just sounds like a 70s Marshall amp. Like, you know, you can't beat it. It sounds amazing. It sounds like butter. And I run all of my amps together through an amp switcher, a system selector by Ampeg, which lets me pick which amp I want to record with. And it's only set to one speaker. Since I do have a home studio, I don't really want to mic anything. It gets loud. It runs directly to my U80 aux, and it has every mic that you can think of. It sounds amazing, and it sounds the closest thing you can to real. What I really love about my studio, and actually is one of my most favorite things, is everything is just plug and play. Everything is easily set up to record. If I want a guitar, it's right here. If I want an amp, I have the system selector. I can turn them all on. My client can pick up a guitar and I can go through them and he can pick exactly what sound he wants. For me, everything is like really streamlined. Everything is really easy to use and really set up to just make my workflow as fast as possible. So besides all the amps and guitars and all this gear, what I also think is really important for my home studio, and what I think is one of the coolest things, is my lights. I'm able to change them to any color. I'm able to create a vibe for whatever my clients would like to experience. Having a comfortable space in your studio is super important for clients. For me, I really want my client to come in and really feel like they're walking into another world. So lastly, before I forget, I also have acoustic panels and some clouds to reduce, obviously, reflections. I think that acoustic treatment is important, especially in my case in this studio, because it is part of the living room and I needed to have it separated from that part of the house. And also because it's against the wall, I needed to have bass traps to deaden up the sound, because, you know, this is a rental. I don't own this space and I can't isolate as much as I would like to.
So that brings this studio tour video to an end, and I'd just like to give a huge shout out to Steven for allowing me into his studio space. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any other studio tours. But other than that, I'll see you for another one next time.